There are three components to immigration enforcement. You can apprehend and you can detain. The third one is deport. We can apprehend and detain all day long. The challenge is, what do you do then? What happens next? And how do you make that a reasonable and rational approach to law enforcement, given all of the other issues that law enforcement is charged with?
And I would make the argument that there are billions of people that are more deserving of our compassion than tolerating illegal immigration. Because it comes down to who we are. Are we going to recognize those people that broke the law? Or are we going to recognize those people that are making great sacrifices to come here? Simply the blessing of being here is a great blessing. And we should not determine who gets to come by who's willing to break the law. We should not punish those that are growing to great extent the following the law.
I always appreciate the opportunity to explain my immigration enforcement bill to the people of the state of Utah, because I think once people understand this bill, what the goals are and what it truly does, people get behind this bill and realize we need this bill, we need it now, and the bill is not the ugly monster that everybody's made it out to be. One thing that we need to make very clear is that most of the parts of the Arizona bill that were enjoined by the federal judge, Judge Bolter, has been taken out of my bill. What it does is it requires a law enforcement agent, if he makes a stop or detainment or arrest for any violation of any state law, and then based on reasonable suspicion they feel that person is in the state illegally, they are required to verify the immigration status of that person. Where this bill differs quite dramatically from the Arizona bill is that it requires somebody to commit a crime in the state of Utah before they're ever questioned about their immigration status. Another key part of my bill is that it requires our state agencies to verify immigration status of any person applying for any type of social welfare benefit in the state of Utah. The estimate right now is close to $500 million that is costing the state of Utah for entitlement programs that are not properly deserved by people. They're being fraudulently obtained by illegal immigrants in the state of Utah. Right now, the Social Security Administration has estimated that 75% of all illegal aliens have a stolen or fraudulent Social Security number. This is a felony. This is a very serious felony that's being committed by the vast majority of those in our state illegally.
There are different types of identity theft, and what's being done here is lumping them all together. I'm very proud of the fact that, yes, we have prosecuted and had deported more than 200 undocumented aliens who were using Social Security numbers and buying homes or obtaining credit using somebody else's Social Security number. That's a different kind of crime with real long-lasting financial impact on the victim than using somebody's Social Security number to work, which doesn't impose the same burden. Absolutely does not.
Okay. Do we need to enforce the laws? Of course we do. Who is responsible for what? Who really has the mandate? What do our resources let us actually accomplish? But wouldn't it be wonderful if Utah could discover what is the problem? How could we bring people out of the shadows? How could we encourage people who, at least up to this point, we hope, have only violated a minor infraction to be here? How can we keep them from getting deeper into trouble? How can we bring them out of the shadows? And how can we prosecute the real bad guys? That's what Utah ought to be focused on. We ought to be the leader here, not the follower of Arizona.
At the end of the day, this issue about illegal immigration it's an economic issue. It's not about people coming here to become U.S. citizens. That's not the vast majority of people who are here unauthorized are not here because they want to get citizenship. They know they can't. They're here to work. It's an economic issue, and therefore you have to have an economic solution in order to be successful. So that has to deal with the issue of migrant workers and guest workers and the need for them.
I agree. We need to address the issue of how we can help this group of people. But any kind of program has to start with enforcement. If we don't have enforcement, we're going to get more of what we have right now, which is illegal immigration.
According to the Pew Hispanic Center, which is not a conservative organization, according According to the Pew Hispanic Center, we now have the fastest growing illegal alien population in the nation. The fastest growing illegal alien growing population in the nation. That is, to me, astounding. And that's because we haven't. We have become known as a sanctuary state. We're one of 12 states that give in-state tuition. We're one of 4 states that give some type of a driver privilege card. And until we actually let people know that we are serious about enforcing the law, that will continue to grow.
First of all, nobody is talking about pathway to citizenship or amnesty. That's not in the, no one is proposing that. What we're talking, and I'll tell you quite frankly, having known law enforcement officers who are dead because they are fighting corruption in their country, the tune of 20,000 people in Mexico, they're dying because we in this country have an unending thirst for drugs, and they're trying to stop it in Mexico. They're doing great things to try and change things down there, and to then say that they are some kind of a crime-ridden third world population that we don't want here is reprehensible. We need to be strong on enforcement. That's where the enforcement ought to be spent doing Utah jobs, Utah law enforcement jobs, not that of the federal government. And the federal government should do their jobs, and if we do the job for the federal government, they will never do their job. We need to continue to pound on them to enforce their own laws and enforce immigration laws.
What we're trying to do is find a practical, reasonable solution to a situation that exists, not of our own making, but of 40 years of failed federal policy. And to simply wordsmith and accuse those of us that are trying to find a solution of supporting amnesty is simply disingenuous at best.